We have a floor crosser and we have drama on Parliament Hill. Here to discuss it all is political commentator Brian Lilly of the Toronto Sun. Brian, hello, welcome.
Thanks for having me. Nothing more exciting than a floor crosser on budget day. Uh,
Yeah.
Let me tell you, Jeanette, from years of covering parliamentary budgets when I was on the Hill full time, or even when I would just go there to cover them, there's a lot of excitement. But then you added a floor crosser, someone switching parties. Oh, this is like Christmas Day for political geeks.
Oh, for sure, and yeah, and political geek you are. That self proclaimed there for sure.
Yep.
Brian, okay, so before we get into the details of the budget, tell us about it's Chris D'Entremont, right? The conservative
Yes.
MP who is now a liberal.
Yeah, so he's from Nova Scotia, represents an area called Acadia Annapolis, and first elected in 2019. Prior to that, he had been a provincial progressive conservative cabinet minister. He'd been a conservative activist at the federal and provincial level for years. This was not a guy new to conservative politics, and yeah, all of a sudden he's joining the Liberals. It was just a few weeks ago that he was saying if we don't get spending under control, it's going to get worse. And this prime minister promised to do things, and things have only gotten worse. We need a budget that will control spending. And of course, it didn't. We'll get into that in a minute. And yet he crosses to join the Liberals on budget day. And the next day, joins Mark Carney at a news conference where Carney was gloating in Ottawa at a site of, a light rapid transit system that the federal government is putting some money into as part of their infrastructure. So Carney got to gloat about that, and lots of questions, of course, about other potential floor crossers. I had named two names that I had heard yesterday in a publication that I did. Joel Godin, who is from an area north and east of Quebec City, and Dominic Vien, who represents an area south of Quebec City. I hadn't talked to either one of them. Their names just keep coming up as people that are looking across. Well, Dominic Vien on Wednesday morning, taking to social media saying, I'm hearing the rumors that I'm going to leave to become a liberal or an independent, but that's not happening. I'm staying with the Conservatives. I am a conservative, and this budget doesn't deliver.
Interesting how rumors get started. Brian, every time there is a floor crossing in Canada, there are calls to ban it or force MPs to resign and run in a by election if they want to change parties. So, is this something that could happen in the future?
I don't see it happening. Floor crossing is part of our parliamentary tradition. You know, we we don't elect people on a strict party system. You represent the party in your electoral district, but you are elected to represent your electoral district. So think of someone who represents Fort McMurray, and suddenly the government of the day says we're going to shut down all oil and gas production. Can you imagine that person staying with that party and saying, well, I just got to defend it because I was elected with them? No, they'd have to say, I can't do that. I've got to leave. I can't stand with the government. I can't stand with this party. They are going against my constituents. And so I understand the sentiment. I understand the anger because really we vote for the whole package. We vote for the individual. We vote for the leader. We vote for the party. We vote for the platform. The candidate represents that whole package in the riding. And I understand the anger and frustration. But this is a long-standing part of our system. Winston Churchill not only switched parties, he switched back and became one of the most successful parliamentarians in the Westminster style of democracy that we inherited from Britain. So I don't see this being feasible. I also see it just leading to a lot of unnecessary by-elections where the person just gets reelected again.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Now that the budget has been tabled, the next step, I guess, is getting it passed through Parliament. So federal politicians of all stripes are saying that they don't want the coming budget vote to trigger a Christmas election. So, Brian, how likely is it that this budget will be passed? Especially now that we have some floor crossers, or at least one.
Yeah, so the Liberals added one to their column, so they don't need quite as many. Someone just has to have a cold. A couple of people, be off sick. Oh, I couldn't get childcare for the vote. Oops, budget passed, and that sort of thing can happen. The Prime Minister did field a lot of questions about whether he was talking to other MPs, conservative and otherwise, to try and get them to cross over. Elizabeth May, who I thought would vote for the budget for sure, doesn't sound like she will because of some things to do with the oil and gas industry that we can talk about in a moment that, people in Alberta will at least somewhat like, that she desperately opposes. And then you've got the NDP. Well, they don't have any money. They don't have a leader. So there's a good chance that they might abstain or people not show up. Someone like Heather McPherson, who represents Edmonton but is running for the leadership, she's not going to vote for the budget, but does she happen to be away that day? That's a good possibility.